And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our second Team League match of the night, to the final series of the night as well. We just wrapped up with Reynor Esports versus the Starving Camels SSLT, and now we are here with the finale, with Team BASILISK versus Shopify Rebellion, and we are diving right into this. Predictions will soon be open because up first is ByuN versus Trigger, and it looks like it was played ahead of time, so we are diving on in. And at the bottom right-hand corner for Shopify Rebellion, we have ByuN. And in the top left, we have, for Team BASILISK, Trigger. Here we go again. Oh my god, we have been waiting. I've been salivating, waiting to sink my teeth into this best of 7. We have ByuN versus Trigger, followed by Lambo versus Reynor. And we conclude with Harstem versus Serral. Oh, a night full of amazing StarCraft. And we'll see how this all comes together here, as ByuN is going to be skirting around the edge of the map with that SCV. It looks like he wants to go for an E-Way block here at the natural base of Trigger. SCV comes in, is going to be spotted. Trigger does see the SCV ahead of time. E-Way should be on the way in. Yeah, probes are being sent over. Big scout from Trigger. Very important. So thankfully he was able to see the SCV ahead of time. Otherwise this E-Way would complete. And because he was able to spot it, he was able to preemptively pull these boys. And this E-Way should be cancelled. It should be denied. So good movement so far here by Trigger. Again, E-Bay blocks have been very popular and very commonplace at this level of play in TVP. And ByuN is going to be shut down there. Behind this, ooh, we have a very interesting opener. It was a single gas geyser by ByuN, but he's going for a Rax into factory, which is what he was planning to do to begin with, to try to punish the unnatural natural. But Trigger is taking a regular expansion, so this opener from ByuN has a lot less potential. Far less than normal. From here, yeah, ByuN just going to be mulling, getting into his gas mining, working towards said reactor for a would-be add-on swap. And yeah, so far, Trigger having a good start. Getting into this, of course, Trigger, I would argue that his best matchup is PvT, actually. We've seen Trigger take down ByuN, take down Gumiho, take down Kuro. We've seen him go toe-to-toe with Maru, as well as Clem. Trigger, his PvT has been looking phenomenal so far this year. Well, everything that I was referring to was during the Open Cups, online weekly events like ESL Americas, for example. And yeah, it's been great to see Trigger grow so much as a player. I remember still seeing him when he first debuted in a Battle of the Americas many years, I'd say many years, a couple of years ago at this point. And we'll see if he can replicate his success once again against ByuN. For now, it is going to be a Twilight Council opener. We have our tech of choice. Probe does confirm the 1-1-1 follow-up as well. Does confirm the lack of, 3 racks or even a 3-1-1 before, 3 racks before Starport. Trigger is aware that drop play should be imminent, as we are continuing Hellion production, actually. 2 Hellions getting into another 2 behind this. Again, with that Twilight Council opener, it should be Blink for Trigger. I believe ByuN is in the dark. I believe ByuN hasn't seen this. Not fully aware of what Trigger is doing as he's getting into those Widow Mines. Should be getting into some drop play. There it is, Medevac on the way for ByuN. Because of the 1-1-1, Trigger, he's aware. Like, he saw everything he needed to. He should be mentally prepared, at least, to deal with drop play. Stalkers are in position. The goal here is that the Widowmine drop creates an opening, forces a reaction from those Stalkers, and the Hellions can dive in, or vice versa. The Hellions keep the Stalkers busy, and the Widowmines get into a mineral line and wreak havoc. Bit of a 1-2 punch here from ByuN. Behind this, Trigger getting into a 2-gate Blink opener. Robo has been thrown down. Ooh, those are additional gateways, though. Trigger ramping up the aggression. Let's go. He delays his third in favor of additional gateways, so he is going to be hyper fixated here on Stalker production for the time being, just to keep up here with the aggression of ByuN. 1 gateway on the low ground, 2 gates in the main. Are we going to? I think it's 4 gates, right? It's 3 gates in the main. Here we go. Drop comes in. So far, we do react well. Ooh. Oh my god, we take down the Stalker. 2 mine shots go off, 1 Stalker and 1 Probe as Drop slips into the main base. And yeah, it is going to be a 4-gate blink out of Trigger. Once he defends, he's going for a big counterattack. Hellions try to push forward, but Trigger is in position. He does shut this down. Did lose 1 Stalker in the process. The problem is that he wants to push, he wants to counterattack, but he can't because of these Hellions and because of the mine. The mine drill comes back in. To get 1 Probe, and we have 1 more Widow Mine left. Shot is going to go off, and Trigger up. Oh no! Ooh, we do retarget. 5 workers go down. Big connection here for ByuN. And Trigger, he needs to counterattack. He needs to get damage done. But he's lost so much. Back at home, ByuN is building up his tank count. Hellions getting ready for another run by, another counterattack. There's 7 dead workers. And the Hellions, they get into the natural. It's only going to be 2 Hellions. They do 2 shot workers. Oh, the adept comes in. Tanks are shots. We get 1. We get both tanks as well. Big pickoffs here for Trigger. There is still a bunker left. But we can dive into the main base. Another tank arrives just in time. We cover the main. Trigger trying to go for a big warp in here. Trying to reinforce. He's committed. Oh, we pick off the tank. The Unsiege. The boys are being pulled. Again, good target firing here on some of the Marines. We dive out of the main base and we rotate back towards the natural, where there is a bunker. Another tank still in production. And we dive on the bunker. Repairs are not fast enough. And Trigger, he's snowballing out of control. Oof. So far, again, the juggling. Oh my god. At the same time, looks like a mine shot did go off in the main base. That's 8 more dead workers. Oh, that is impacting how much Trigger can reinforce. The Observer survives. No shot. The Observer makes it out of scan range. We maintain the Observer. We maintain air vision as well. Sight of the high ground. Another tank has arrived, but that's just another dead tank here. Stalkers are going down. Uh-oh. Stalkers are getting picked off. Trigger forced out of the main. But Trigger still has momentum. He still has momentum going his way. He may have lost workers back at home, but we can still keep pushing. Again, no more tanks, no more bunkers. There's 1 tank here on the high ground. Trigger has to respect it. We'll have to back off. Rotates around towards the main. Oh, another scan does pick off the Observer. Trigger, he's taking his third base behind this as well. So he's not all in. He has done a good job just resetting the tank count over and over again. Killing even more SCVs. Oh, he wants that tank desperately. Yeah, with these reinforcements, he can dive. Uh-oh. We have a second tank on the high ground. We just heard it siege. But we're going for the tank on the low ground. The second tank's not within range. Oh my god. And Trigger, has he done it? Has he finally broken through? It looks like he has. GG gets called. There is not enough. And Trigger will take game number 1. Let's go. Oh my god. Trigger, the killer instinct. There was so much pressure on Trigger, not just to counterattack, but to get on top of those first 2 tanks. He killed those 2 tanks so quickly, so decisively, and once he did, ByuN, he was never able to get more than 1 tank out at a time. He was never able to keep up here with the aggression, with the pickoffs of Trigger, and here he is in the bottom right-hand corner, down in the series, ByuN for Shopify. And in the top left, we have, for Team Basilisk, Trigger. They gave us so little time. Is IVIP sick? I was fine, but during Future versus Silky, like I don't know, I just like I swallowed in a weird way and now I'm dying. I said swallowed in a weird way. I don't know. My throat's a little bit sore ever since the last series, but it's fine. It's fine. We'll recover. We'll be fine, Papi. We'll be fine. Ooh. As we are getting into this. So far, a big shout out to the sponsors as well, you know, as we get into this series. Doyu, Honkai Star, Taido, and Autofool as well. Big shout out here to the sponsors. Without them, WCL wouldn't be a thing. We wouldn't have World Team League, wouldn't have these amazing matches. And yeah, Trigger kicking things off here with a win. We mentioned before that, again, Trigger, his best matchup is PvT. He has beaten ByuN in the past, and he's looking to do so again. This time we do have that eBay on the low ground. Oh, we do have a lot more progression this time. Will force out the unnatural natural of Trigger. Will force it out. So far, a much better start this time for ByuN. Trigger, he wasn't able to get on top of that ahead of time, which means ByuN can get into the build that he wanted to in the previous game. This Hellion opener from ByuN is going to be that much more threatening. It's going to be that much more awkward for Trigger to defend both his main and his natural at the same time. And we'll see if he can pull it off. Again, this does usually lead into a Stargate opener as well, just because it is a little bit easier for Phoenixes and Oracles to dip between the bases and defend them to avoid, the terrain, essentially. So I'm curious if that is going to be the case here for Trigger. Meanwhile, ByuN getting into a CC on the low ground, going for his add-on swap, and like the previous game, should be getting into Hellions. And this time, these Hellions should be more successful. Meanwhile, we have our tech. It is going to be Stargate, as we just mentioned. Because Trigger was forced to expand in a really awkward position, that means he has to go Stargate. It is almost, I wouldn't say impossible. It's so difficult to try to defend both your bases, relying on Stalkers, especially without Blink. Like, even if we went for a Twilight Council opener, it takes time. It takes time to get into Blink, so it is very risky. As a result, Oracles and Phoenixes we will have to rely on. They will be on the way. Meanwhile, the first two Hellions are moving out, getting into our 1-1-1. Stargate is finishing up, and there it is, Phoenix is on the way. So the goal here, as a reminder, math-wise, it takes 3 volleys of a Hellion to kill a probe. So 3 Hellions do one shot. So ideally, these Phoenixes come out and they are able to lift up and CC some of these Hellions to be able to deny that kind of one-shot potential. Here we go, we're diving in. Overcharge is popped. So far, we're going to be holding on. Oh, they do take down one of those probes. But a high health Hellion was lifted. And so far, Trigger only loses 1 worker. Only 1. Not bad. Could have been worse. Could have been so much worse. As he's going to be holding behind this, we're getting into a drop. With a 1-1-1, we should be seeing medevacs on the way and going for a mine drop. Meanwhile, Cyclones are in production. Up. Once again, Hellions get into the mineral line, but they just don't have the DPS. Not anymore. They get shut down. Again, 4 Hellions for 1 probe. Not worth it here for ByuN. But I appreciate that he's getting to Cyclone production to have an answer for these Phoenixes, as Trigger is looking to pick off some workers and pick off some of that economy. Has to be careful. There are some Widow Mines lying in wait, covering the production. Raven on the way as well. No going for drop play. Oh, the mines up. They will connect. Oh, and 1 Phoenix goes down. Big pick off here from ByuN. Trigger, he may have gotten some scouting information, but that was not worth it. Behind this, getting into his robo, working towards the bay. Looks like Phoenix Colossus is going to be the composition for Trigger. I'm imagining Phoenix Colossus. Otherwise, we would have already seen a Twilight Council for charge. And ByuN going straight for a 3rd CC. Oh my god. Third CC is on the way. So very economic here from ByuN. Typically, you would delay your 3rd a little bit longer for a stronger army, but ByuN, he's cutting corners. It means he wants to get into the mid-game in a good position with a boosted economy. Meanwhile, as we mentioned before, because there was still no Twilight Council, it should be Colossus, and there it is. The bay is on the way. Should be getting into Colossus production. We have a Safety Immortal coming out from Trigger as well, just to be able to defend against any kind of early game aggression. So the game is going to be settling from here. 3rd CC has been spotted, so Trigger, he's aware that he should be working on a 4th. Doesn't want to fall behind. Again, Protoss players ideally want to be up a base compared to the Terran. They want to be upper base, up in workers. Phoenix is going for a bit of a counterattack. Going to be threatening that natural. This time, Widow Mines are not in position. Oh no, I spoke too soon. I didn't think they were. Quick reactions out of Trigger. He doesn't lose the Phoenix, but he does take 2 mine shots to the face. Whew, oh my god. My heart stopped for a moment. I was like, oh no. And I love this out of ByuN. He's repositioning those Widow Mines, but they were just spotted by the Observer. Observer did spot the mines, and we're going right for them. Keen eyes out of Trigger. He shuts them down. Very nice moves. Likewise, ByuN going to be able to shut down the Observer as well, so a bit of a give and take. Trigger gets the mines, ByuN gets the Observer. Ooh, as we do rotate around, that Colossus looking a little bit exposed. The Colossus! Big disable. We dive on top of the army. Yeah, we're going to have to recall back home. Colossus will barely survive, but the Immortal gets left behind. No. Thankfully, there's no stim, but even without it, the Immortal's going to go down nonetheless. A brutal trade there for Trigger. Again, just a bit of a miss rally. He wasn't really looking to attack with that kind of awkward angle, and Trigger had to get the hell out of there. Did at least keep the Colossus alive. And again, thankfully, Stim wasn't done. Stim just now finished. If Stim was ready for that, then Trigger would have 100% lost everything. Oh. But now Phoenixes, they do get eyes on the army to take down the Viking. Well, they want that medevac if possible as well. Backing up, forcing a Stim. Oh, we trade 1 Phoenix for an SCV. Trigger, he does have to be careful. Doesn't want to throw these Phoenixes away. No! Another Phoenix goes down. Ay, ay, ay. And again, Phoenixes, they still have value here in the mid game. You don't want to throw them away, because they do things like this. They deter drop play. Catching up the reinforcements, but again, we have a double jump going right for the natural. At the same time, another double jump going for the third. Trigger, can he keep up? We dive on the Colossus, and 1 Colossus goes down. Oh my god. Meanwhile, the second army pushes towards that third base. Charge is not done, by the way. We want a second Colossus. No shot. Can we get it? We barely don't. Colossus does survive. I spoke too soon. The Colossus survived in the natural, but not at the third base. And Trigger, he's falling apart. He lost 2 Colossi here in a matter of seconds. Zealots are being cleaned up. The overcharge does nothing. That's going to be 9, 12, 13, even more dead probes as we got into the mineral line. Again, Trigger, he was looking damn strong in game 1, but here in game number 2, he just cannot keep up. Again, because of the lack of Phoenixes, he couldn't deny the drops. He could not deny the medevacs. That's 22 dead workers. And ByuN, he's running away with this. He's up in the economy. He's up in the army. Has better tech. Disruptors. Ghosts are coming out for those EMPs. And what does Trigger really have left? He needs time. If ByuN were to back off and give him a couple of minutes, then Trigger, he can recover. But that is not going to happen. Widow Mines, they do get shut down, but here comes the main army of ByuN. This time with EMP. Oh boy. He's only got 1 ghost though. I don't actually know if the ghost is with the main army. Archons are coming out. ByuN just waiting for those reinforcements. Okay, we're making 3 ghosts at a time. Got a mine drop going towards the main. Pylon going to be going down. Trigger, he does react in time. He does pull back. Mine shot's going to be going off me, so they do catch the medevac. ByuN, oh my god, what are we thinking? We are going for a drop into the natural once again. The rest of the reinforcements rallying towards the third, going for the 1-2 punch for a second time. This worked well for ByuN earlier. Will it work well again? Fourth base is on the way. We can see the main army of Trigger is being distracted, and we go for the drop into the natural. Workers are going down. 7, 8+ workers. Temple Archives is exposed. We get the gas geysers as well. And we shouldn't get a Colossus this time. We should force a pickup. But again, we cannot chase down these Metamax. Where are the Phoenixes? Where are the Stalkers? At the same time, ByuN pushing towards that third. As he gets on top of the Nexus, forces a cancel as well. Oh no! We can step forward. Down goes another Stalker. And ByuN, he's just running away with this. Far ahead in supply. And this is one of those cases where the soup doesn't lie. We always point out when it does. This time it's not. It's honest soup. As we do see Trigger just trying to stabilize himself here, working on Blink, working on his upgrades, +3. But he's just spread so thin. And yeah, with like one main frontal assault, I do think that ByuN has too much to handle. Unless it were Disruptors or Storm, but the reality is that there isn't. Even with these Colossi, we have so many Vikings. Big EMP! And it does cover some of those High Templar, the Archons as well. Of course, we still have to respect the Colossus. We still have to be very careful here with how we engage. It is a delicate dance. But the overcharge just ran out. We got a Fusion Core on the way for Liberators, for Liberator range. Libs would be the nail in the coffin. There is no answer for Libs right now for Trigger. As ByuN is going to rotate. Try to get a better angle of attack. Making sure he has control of the Zelnaga. There it is. The Vikings, they lead the charge. They take down one Colossus already. Remember, overcharge was already spent. They get a second Colossus. Now there's only one left. And soon to be 0 Colossi. We stim forward. We get on top of the Immortals. GG gets called. And ByuN will tie up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. And yeah, ByuN, he was able to play out his game this time. Remember, game 1, ByuN tried to eBay block. He went for a Rax into Factory. Didn't really work out. It kind of fell on its face a little bit. But here in game 2, ByuN did force out that unnatural natural. Did force a really awkward expansion location. Was able to try to wreak havoc there, pull apart his opponents. And didn't really get too many worker kills with his Hellions, but he did shut down the Phoenixes. Did shut them down. The drop play was insane, ambitious, and worked out quite well. GG. With that, we have a tied up series. And we're going to be getting into game number 2 for a bit of a tiebreaker here. Up next, after the break, Lambo versus Reynor in a ZVZ. See you soon. And oh my, who's behind? Is that Mark?
That is your thermal and skills, you know.
Yeah, that's Mark.
So.
That's Mark and Skills. I did hear about a boot camp that was going to be taking place, and here we go. We are my apologies. We are diving back into this next best of 2 between Lambo and Reynor. Ooh, in a ZVZ. And here we go. Game 1 is going to be on Hecate, and in the bottom right hand corner we have for Shopify Rebellion, Lambo. And in the top right we have his opponent. Ooh, for Team Basilisk, Reynor, featuring Euthermal and Skillus. Oh, he's got his own like a cheerleader squad behind him to cheer him on. Let's go. I mean, I'm hoping they're cheering for Reynor. Aye. But yeah, we are getting ready for our next ZVZ. Again, we're tied up 1-1, and the winner of this series, the winner of this game even, will grant their team a lead in this series. We'll gain momentum here. And who's it going to be so far? Hatch first from both Lambo and Reynor. Everything looking as it should for the time being. Oh, we're getting a zoom in. Oh, we're eating. What is that? Is that a McFlurry? It's ice cream, right? Or yogurt? I'm really curious. Mark, let us know. Aye. Reynor's training Mark. I think it's the other way around. I think. Oh, God. For now, though, again, Hatchcast full standard openers here from both Lambo and Reynor on a map like Hecate. That's kind of what we expect. I don't really expect to see any kind of crazy shenanigans on a map as standard or as large as this. I expect to see more of that on some of these smaller maps like Hardlead, for example, Oceanborn, even Golden Aura. But now, though, everything's looking as it should. Really, things are going to start to deviate once we expand and take our third bases, whether someone decides to skip a Bailey Nest, rush into Roaches, cut workers, go into Ling Bane aggression, or even ignore the third and go into 2-base play. There is a lot available here. There's a lot on the table. Where are you going to take us? And we have seen Lambo defeat Reynor in the past. Lambo, he's kind of the coach, the sensei, if you will, and every now and then he's able to knock Reynor down a peg or two in the ZVZ matchup. We'll see if that does take place here. I want to say the last time that happened was in Home Story Cup. Was it Home Story Cup when they faced off in the group stage? I can't quite recall. I may be thinking of Lambo versus a laser. But for the time being, Overlord's going to be moving out. Do have a third base soon to be taken. Ooh, Lambo going into a second gas geyser and rushing into Lair. Bobby, what is going on? You can see that we have a drone in position as well to help wall off, to hide the tech. Lambo is going for 2-base play. Reynor coming in for a scout. Up. No, the drone not quite in position. The Lings, they do get in, and we see everything. We see both gas geysers. We see the Lair as well. A crucial moment here for Reynor and a bit of a blunder from Lambo. Aye. This was looking to be something like maybe 2-base Muta, maybe just 2-base Roach play. Roach Warren is on the way. But again, Reynor, he sees everything. Behind this, he knows to skip his Bailey Nest. He knows to get into Roaches, skip Link Speed if possible, and rush into his own lair. And that Ling is still alive as well. Oh my god. Finally, it should be hunted down. We can see Lambo taking his third at this point. Now I'm curious. So Lambo, he's going to be cutting workers at 32. He still hasn't made any more drones. He may just go all in. Like, he's taking this third base just to lure his opponent into a false sense of security. Reynor is droning. Uh-oh. Reynor, he's making workers. Lambo isn't. But Lambo is also supply blocks. That could be leading into as to why. Overlord's now coming out. And yeah, Lambo, he's cutting workers at 32. No more droning. No more economy. Lambo, he's all in. Completely all in. And Reynor, because he saw the third, he's still making workers. And if... he's still making drones! If Reynor drones up his third... this Link Scout does see a handful of Roaches. That is a bit of a tell. But if Reynor keeps droning, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. He saw the lack of gases. That should be enough of a tell. Reynor, we need an army. He droned up to 54. Crazy. He saturates his third base, and he may just be caught with his pants down. Lambo is pushing. He's droning behind this. But he is moving out with a massive Roach army. As I say that, Reynor does have the defender's advantage. Lambo, he doesn't go for the kill. He's droning up, so really he wants to try to shut down this third. Drone's being forced away, and we're going to be chasing them down. It's a lot of workers. Reynor doing his best to escape. He's trying to get out of here. Meanwhile, again, Lambo, he's droning heavily, catching back up, and he will catch these drones. Good stutter stepping. Good control. 8 dead workers and so much lost mining time. So Lambo, he wasn't able to kill Reynor like he wanted to, but he was able to do enough damage to catch back up into this. Now we're working on +2. Lambo getting supply block, remember there, so is Reynor, it's fine. Third bases are getting saturated. And this is still anyone's game. This is still anyone's game at this point. As the worker counts have evened up, a +2 range, neck and neck with each other. Lambo does have that roach speed advantage. Once again, Lambo, he isn't taking his gases. He's only on 4 gases. Lambo is cutting workers. Once again, Lambo is cutting workers at 54. Reynor, he's assuming that Lambo is droning. As a result, once again, Reynor, he is focusing on his economy when his opponent isn't. This is going to be a follow-up all-in from Lambo. Can Reynor keep up? And Reynor, he did take his gases, drone up to 60. He did take a risk. And is he going to be punished for it? Now, what's important is that Reynor did drone, but not too much. He's only up 6 workers. And I do think that that's enough of a deviation to get away with. I don't think that's game ending. If Reynor had taken a 4th and droned up to like 66, then I would be concerned. But again, he didn't go for full 3-way saturation. He didn't go that far. So a much more tempered response this time from Reynor. He's now going to be droning, but he has a decent army. Like, he has an army to work with. And here we go. Lambo, he is all in. He caught workers much earlier on. He didn't take his gases. Not working on any other tech or 4th base. And yeah, we just have to send it at this point. The creep highway is upon us, but Reynor, he's in position. Able to keep up. Lambo is up in army supply. As he moves out, we do have a counterattack here from Reynor. Going straight for that 3rd base, and I don't think Lambo has much at home to defend. Here we go, Lambo trying to force his way up this ramp. Lyle's not quite going to be connecting. Good dodges here, but they will now connect here on Lambo. He's making his way through, trying to force his way into that 3rd. Drones are going down back at home. Lambo is gaining ground, but we have the defender's advantage. We have roaches trickling on out from Reynor. Can he hold up? Lambo, he's breaking through. He's getting on some of the Ravagers, getting on some of the Queens. The boys, they have to be pulled. Ay, ay, ay. Drones are going down. Reynor struggling here to hold on. And did he drone too much? Maybe he did. I was like, oh, he's only got 6 more workers. That should be okay. As Lambo, it looks like he has broken the defensive line. 17 drones go down, and Lambo, he just has far too much here. Getting every single worker at this 3rd. Takes down the Queen, gets on top of the roaches, and Lambo has done it. He is going to be taking a lead here for his team, for Shopify. I was like, 6 drones, that's okay. Nah. In ZVZ, sometimes when you drone, you die, papi. GG gets called. Lambo does it. He takes game 1 versus Reynor. GG. GG, well played. Oh my god. And to be fair, it wasn't just those 6 drones. If you remember, Reynor did make another, I want to say, was it another 5 workers towards the end of that game? Like, he did make an extra wave once he thought he was safe. And I thought he was safe too. I was like, oh, Reynor, he's making another like extra pair of workers. I think he can probably get away with that. It should be okay. No, it wasn't just that. So it was Reynor joining up. I think he had like 10, maybe 11 more workers than Lambo. On top of that, he also had roaches across the map, which weren't at home defending as well. And when you're up against an all-in, you need everything possible here to hold on. Lambo able to break through. GG. GG, well played. The secondary all-in. Hey, sometimes it can catch you off guard. It can catch you. Yeah. Definitely. I did notice Reynor make an extra wave of workers. And again, I thought he was safe to do so. I thought it was like, he's got enough of a ground army, like should be okay. But no, just an extra pair. So extra pair, extra wave of 6. And again, those roaches not being at home, every roach counts. And with that, Lambo takes game 1. But we'll see, can Reynor bring it back here in game number 2, as we're going to be loading into Equilibrium. Curious. Again, Reynor, he's a very fast player. I'm wondering if Reynor does intend on taking the gold base that much faster. He could rush into that gold and be hyper aggressive. And here we go in the top left hand corner. We had the player leading the series for Shopify Rebellion. It is Lambo. And in the top right, we have his opponent. We have for Team BASILISK, Reynor. Here we go. Okay, that was a roller coaster ride of emotions. Remember, initially, Lambo got scouted. Reynor was able to respond beautifully, which led into Lambo's initial attack, where he was able to even things up. Remember, Reynor, he got away with so much economy, so much droning earlier on. Then the worker counts were reset. It was, again, very back and forth. A very back and forth game. And oh my, Lambo. Let's go. I thought that Reynor was going to be the aggressor. Reynor, he's going for a hatch gas pool, taking the natural. Lambo is going for a pool first. Sorry, for a gas first. Gas first opener here from Lambo. Very aggressive. So this is going to lead into faster ling speed, faster bailings as well. And he's going for the gold. Hyper aggression coming out from Lambo. I'll be honest, I thought this was what Reynor was going to do. I expected this out of Reynor, not Lambo. Reynor going for a more conservative approach. He's going to be the defender. Ay. And here we go again. So with this, because Lambo has faster gas, there's going to be a window. There's going to be a window where Lambo has link speed and Reynor doesn't. There's also going to be a window where Lambo has bailings and Reynor doesn't either. So this is going to be a very scary defense here for Reynor. He needs to recognize what's going on fast enough. On top of that, because of the goal base as well, Lambo, he isn't like fully all in or anything, because he can main art and he can of course saturate that gold as well to keep his economy going, to be able to even surpass the economy of Reynor. Here we go. The Overlord is going to be dipping on forward. What will we see? We do not see the transfer, but we will see the lack of hatchery, which should lead into checking the gold base. Like Reynor, he can deduce that the gold has been taken. He should be aware. Now, he may not be aware which gold. There's a world where maybe the forward gold was taken instead, but in a ZVZ, that's crazy. There's that bailiness we were talking about. Again, gas first usually leads into bailings in ZVZ. It's kind of how you want to play it out. Reynor going for the gold? Papi. This is... he throws down a third base. This is maybe too greedy. Oh my god. Investing into a third hatchery when Lambo is going gas first. Okay, I mean, if Reynor defends, he's going to be ahead, to be fair. So here we go. Reynor, he even makes an extra pair of drones. Oh my god. No spine crawler. That's the other thing that could have been helping Reynor here. He's going for a defensive bailing nest. And here we go. Lambo is pulling the trigger. Ling speed of Batiki and bailings have been revealed. Good splits here from Reynor. We go first round. We catch a queen. The Lings. Lings are being zoned away. And the Lings will go down. And this may just be too much. Yeah, we bust into the main base. We do have a couple of reinforcing Lings on the way. We don't want to waste these bailings. We don't want to waste them. They're spent on some of these drones. We need them on the Lings. Another queen is going to go down. And if we can get on top of these morphing and bailings, we can just end the game. We go for the mineral line. We have one bailing left. Lambo running out of steam. He can maybe focus down some of these drones, but Reynor is holding. Yeah, Reynor, he does hold. That morphing and bailing doesn't quite finish. Lambo, he was kind of stuck between going for economic damage or killing Lings, and things got really chaotic. Things got really messy. Things got very messy. I do believe there was a lot of potential there for Lambo, but did fumble the ball. And now Reynor, he is going for a big counterattack. Bailings are being wasted. This is still up in the air. Lambo, he's down in workers, but he has better saturation at the gold. Drone's going to be going down across the map. Oh my god, Reynor losing some workers. I believe it was towards the natural. And here we go, Lambo's pushing out. Show us the main fight! The Link Bane! Link Bane aggression is upon us. Lambo pushing forward here with 6 Banelings. Banelings still on the way for Reynor. Yeah, they are slowly morphing in. They're going to be able to finish up. Likewise, Lambo has to be very careful with his own Baneling movement. Doesn't want to trade too inefficiently. Doesn't want them to bunch up. No! As he does get into the main base, just out-positioning his opponent. Reynor, the Banelings are coming in! They wall into the mineral line. They will connect. 10 drones go down. Massive connections. Oh my god. Reynor down to 11 drones. Again, Reynor just having a hard time defending his goal base and his main at the same time. Lambo, he will be bleeding out these lings. Just rotate over, checks the gold. Again, Reynor, he still has decent saturation at the goal base, but another drone goes down. And we need Banelings. Both players need Banelings desperately right now. As Lambo does take an economic lead. There's more Banelings on the way. Reynor, now it's his turn to be the aggressor. These Banelings from Lambo, they feel a little bit late, but he has 2 Banelings ready. He has them ready to defend. Queen does get caught out. Lambo, he's having a hard time defending both bases. Being pulled apart a little bit. Banelings are still standing strong. Oh no! Oh my god. Lambo taking 1 Baneling to the face. But it looks like this other, is going to be shut down as well. Lambo, he does survive. Gets knocked down to 15 drones. Barely ahead in workers. And it all comes down to the micro, to the control. Does bleed out one of his Banelings. He is getting into the mineral line. A bit of a waste there as well. That's 3 Banelings for 2 drones. Ay, ay, ay. But it looks like Lambo may just have too much anyway. He's overwhelming with his Link Bane. He just has to avoid the Banelings and he's going to be okay. He will avoid them. He's trying to chase out these drones and he will. He catches the last workers here of Reynor. At the same time, Lambo also losing drones across the map. Oh my god. Lambo avoiding that, and GG gets called. Lambo, he will barely edge it out, and he gets the 2-0. GG, well played. Amidst all the chaos, and again, I do think that Reynor was a little bit too greedy earlier on. Was droning up quite a lot here compared to the aggressive opener, and there were no spine crawlers. We were lacking queens. Lambo, he was able to snowball out of control. Early on, I do think there was a little bit more potential for damage, but regardless, Lambo, he kept the momentum in his favor, gets a 2-0, GG. And with that, Shopify need 1 win. 1 win, which is not impossible. Up next is Harstem versus Serral. I know Serral, he is an amazing player, but Serral has been losing games. Serral, he has been dropping ELO here in WTL. Protoss players have been finding weak points and have been causing upsets. We'll see if that continues to be the case. We're going to be going on a break. Up next, Harstem versus Serral. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our final best of 2 here of this Team League match of WTL of World Team League. And the pressure is on Serral here to take this 2-0 to force the ace match. Now, I was quickly having a look at some of the history of this season. And again, Serral, he's been dropping maps mainly to Zerg players. There's only been one Protoss this entire season of WTL. One Protoss that has taken maps off of Serral. And it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. It's Firefly. Firefly was the only one to do it. Can Harstem follow suit? Can he do what Firefly could to win the series, to win it all here for Shopify? It would be a massive win if they could, if he did. And I'm sure Harstem is coming in prepared. Harstem, he's one with quirky builds. He's one with unique all-ins. I'm ready for it. And never mind. Looks like we are going to be remaking. This is a bit of a bug that does happen in StarCraft. Sometimes when you load into a custom game or even a ladder game, you get like I think it's like a Twitch, like pink UI by default. It's an indie game. It is a known bug. It does happen. It does happen where your console is messed up. So we are going to be remaking that lobby, and hopefully Harstem isn't too shaken by that. Hopefully, again, he can focus on his game here. And again, we have seen Harstem play very uniquely. Like, whenever we cast Harstem, he does come in with his own builds. He has some hyper greedy builds with like faster third Nexi. We've seen some aggression. We've seen some all-ins. We've seen some sky toss. I'm ready. I'm ready to see what the captain has been cooking in the kitchen. I'm hungry. Give me food, Papi. Give me food. Predictions are open. I say that. Predictions are now closed. Best of luck to everyone that did place their bets here on this series. They went into the void, Ray. Into the void, Rapey. Ahí está, papi. Ay. Once again, Serral looking good here. We did just see he has been knocked down quite a bit here in ELO. Again, there was a time where Serral had the highest ELO in the entire league. Now he has been surpassed by Maru. Maru has been looking a little bit stronger here so far this season of WTL. We'll see if that trend does continue. I believe Maru has gotten up to 1,000. I think he has just over 1,000 ELO, which is impressive. Very impressive. Highest by far. Here we are getting ready. Just have to remake the lobby, get things ready, get things going. All good. And when it comes to Serral, I imagine that he's just, again, going to be the responder here. He's going to be reacting to what Harstem brings to the table. Game 1 is going to be brutal. It's on Equilibrium, known by many, known by most as a more Zerg-friendly, Zerg-favored map in the map pool, just because of the logo rushes by ground, a lot of bases to be taken, the goal base as well, which is very natural to kind of take as your third or your fourth. Serral is going to be comfortable here on Equilibrium, which is why I'm curious as to what Harstem can do to really shake him, to break him, to knock him off balance, off center, and sneak out a win. On Equilibrium, what am I feeling? I feel like you have to be aggressive. I feel like if you're too passive, if you're too tech heavy. Okay, so the problem with being too tech heavy, specifically on Equilibrium, which would work on Alcyone, for example, which is like you go double Robo Colossus production, double Forge, take a third, take a fourth, and build up a death ball of an army. That's fine on a map like Alcyone. On Equilibrium, or even Radisson Station, on Equilibrium, because of the goal base, the Zerg player gets out of control. That's the thing. Like, if you're too defensive and too tech heavy, then you just give the entire map to the Zerg, and they can max out that much faster because of the gold. So that's why I'm feeling something more aggressive here out of Harstem. I feel like you need to try to punish the Zerg here a little bit more, but we'll see. I'm gearing towards a Twilight Council opener, or maybe a Stargate into a Twilight Council afterwards. But we'll see. We'll see what Harstem has to offer. And he's had a couple of days, to prepare, to think, to ruminate, to go over this best of 2, to think about the scenarios. And I want to believe that he is someone that takes like preparation seriously here. He's got a big brain. Time to make use of it. Here we go. ByuN has won as many maps as Mario this WTL season. Yeah, but he doesn't have as high ELO, right? Because ByuN started lower, I'm assuming, because of last season. I was talking about ELO, Pat. Bearing in mind that that ELO is calculated based on previous seasons as well, as that all comes into play when it's aggregated and when it is, when it is formulated in a way. So again, the ELO isn't just this season of WTL; it is previous seasons, or all seasons actually, all seasons of World Team League coming together. And yeah, I guess we're having some issues. I don't, I don't know if maybe like they remade the game and the console bug occurred again for a second time, which would be crazy. Oh, no, there we go. We're back in. And in the top right-hand corner of Equilibrium, we have a Shopify Rebellion. It is Harstem. And in the top left, we have his opponent, Serral, for Team BASILISK. Let's go. Here we go. As we settle on into this. Serral, as to be expected, going straight for the gold. This is the power of Equilibrium. The gold base can be taken quite early on as your natural, your third base, or your fourth base. You know, each one kind of a different form of greed, essentially. And Serral, he's going straight for it as his natural. This is also why I said leading into this that I feel like on Equilibrium, as a Protoss player, you have to be aggressive because you cannot allow a Zerg player to just get away with the free gold and get a boosted economy as a result. So we'll see. We'll see if Harstem can punish this, or we'll see how he approaches this scenario. As he is setting up for a gate expand. So pretty standard opener here from Harstem. Still in the dark, but again, too early to really get a read on this and too early to really punish this as well. It's about the follow-up. As Harstem is going for a delayed probe scout. Interesting. Okay, so cutting some corners. Probe now going to be moving out across the map, but again, too late to deny a hatchery, of course, as we already have one. But should be able to get a read on what bases have been taken and what economic state Serral is in. As Serral is going to be main-eyeing over, just saturating that gold base as quickly as he can. Now, what also is important here, if Harstem does go for a Stargate opener, for example, is that it's going to be a little bit difficult, or it's going to be on Serral to split up his queens and defend both mineral lines at the same time, because it can be difficult here to keep up with the Oracle and Adept Harass. As Harstem has confirmation, he has eyes on the gold. Fully aware. And it is going to be a Stargate opener. So Stargate opener out of the Harstem, so it's going to be on the Oracles and the Adepts as well, you know, working together here to try to punish this greed, try to get into the mineral line and get some worker kills. Meanwhile, Serral, he knows that this is coming. He knows that right now there's a lot of pressure on him to be able to split up his army and defend both his gold and his main. We'll see if he can pull it off. Serral, he is rising to the challenge. First Adept threatens a shade, but we shouldn't commit. Again, there's plenty in position to deflect it. Harstem getting into his first Oracle. Another Adept on the way so far. Hasn't lost anything, thankfully. The Overlord Scout did confirm the Stargate as well as the first unit. So Serral, he knows it's not going to be a Void Ray. He's aware of the Oracles that are on the way. We have 2 Queens at the gold. I believe we should have 2 Queens in the main. Oracle is moving out. Harstem has to be very careful not to lose too much shields or not to take too much damage here. Oh, does rally into the mineral line and go straight for the drones. Doesn't get any of them, though. Ay, ay, ay. Not a good start here for Harstem. Took a lot of hull damage, now deep in the red, and did not get a worker. At the same time, he's going for the goal, but Serral is here. Does get eyes on it. Now, to me, this is a read that maybe we're just trying to get into the mid game. Twilight Council's on the way. No Forge. Let's go. Okay, so Harstem's going to be backing off. With no Forge on the way, this looks like Glaives, but if I remember correctly, I know that Harstem, he has a build where he goes into Blink even without a Forge. So I'm curious. I'm curious if this is going to be Glaives or Blink from our Protoss. Glaives would be a good way to punish this. Meanwhile, Serral getting into a Baneling nest, skipping his Roach Warren, going Ling Bane, and there it is. There is Blink. So again, we have seen Harstem do this before, where even without a Forge, he just goes into Blink anyway, and he goes for later upgrades. It's very unique to Harstem. Hero does something similar, but Heroes goes into a 3-base all-in. There he goes. Blink is on the way. Harstem going to be saturating his bases, trying to get into that gold. And Serral, with his Ling Bane, he will have the opportunity here to punish him. There we go. As 18 Lings are on the way. Serral soon to be moving out. And this gold base looking quite exposed. The Rich-Vesting Gas guys are going to be coming in clutch as well. Overlord is going to be hunted down. Lings are going to be pushing on the right-hand side. And Baneling should soon be on the way for Serral. Of course, getting into his own Rich-Vesting Gas Geyser. I mean, yeah. Roach Warren for Ling Bane Roach Ravager. Or Ling Bane Roach. And so far, Harstem, he doesn't see the army. That's a lot of Banelings. Oh my god. 16 Banelings being morphed in. They don't have speed, but they can waddle in. Meanwhile, Harstem rushing into a Flea Beacon. I kind of like this, but god, he's just so spread thin. He moves out. He misses the army. This gold base, it's in a lot of trouble. It is in a lot of trouble as Harstem is pushing onto creep. The Lings flood in. Overcharges pop, but the Banelings, they can have their way with this mineral line. 7 dead workers. Shield battery goes down. And Harstem, he has to race back home. He's already lost so much. 11, 12, 13 probes. Oh my god. 14 even. And again, Harstem, sure, he's rushing into Skytoss. That's great and all, but he just doesn't have the economy he needs. And there it is. Carriers are on the way. Serral getting ready for another run by. No saturation at all here at the gold. The Lings still being very active. The Banelings have been spotted. They have been seen. Lings going for a dive on these Stalkers, but we have Oracles to support, so for now, Harstem is safe. For a moment though, because Serral, he's not slowing down, he's looking for another fourth, looking for another base to just harass and shut down. And we have options. The Banelings, do they go for the natural? Do they go for the third? They're going straight for the third base once again. Bane's going to try and push on forward. Overcharge is popped. Serral is going to respect it. Respects the overcharge, respects the army as well. Carriers are on the way. Behind this, Serral, he's drawn up to 60. He can drone up to 80 at this point. He has map control. He has full map control even. Infestation pits. Up to 4 base, soon to be 5 base saturation. He hasn't seen the carriers yet. He's in the dark as of the transition, but he was in the dark. Oh my god, he doesn't see. Carrier is hidden. Just barely kept out of range. I'm sure that was intentional. I hope that was intentional. As a result, still no Spire, still no Hydrogen, no anti-air other than Queens. Serral not fully aware as to what's going on. It's going to be 7 Queens here to defend. I'm loving the SimCity. I'm loving the wall here from Harstem. He needs to slow the game down. He needs to wall off. And here the carriers have finally been revealed. They have been spotted. Banelings will be rolling on forward. They take down the sentry. And the Lings, they do collapse on this. We're committed. We have to be because of the carriers. The Banelings, they do roll on forward. Good force fields. Oh my god. Harstem. A much more solid defense here at the gold. Lings, they go for a surround at the 4th, but they should be shut down. And Harstem, he does hold quite nicely. The downside is that he did have to reveal his hand. He did have to reveal his carriers, something that I'm sure he wanted to keep hidden a little bit longer. As a result, Serral is getting into the Spire. Hive is done. Viper should be on the way. And Serral is already at 80 workers. He already has a solid economy. So Serral is going to be the first to max out. Basically, for the next couple of minutes, Harstem is going to be the defender. He's going to have to try... Oh, as we contaminate the Stargate. Oh my god. But Harstem is going to be stuck at home, and he has to be the one to absorb all these blows for, again, a couple of minutes until he maxes out. Not impossible, but it's going to be difficult. Lings, they try to crash through this wall. They're going to be shut down, but as the army gets dragged out of position, Serral is going for a big counterattack towards that natural. So far, the wall is solid. We have a shield battery. We have the overcharge, keeping that cyber core alive. And we go first round. We collapse on the stalkers. A couple of stalkers will get picked off. But the roaches are going to be going down. This is a rough trade for Serral. But the Lings, they get into the mineral line. They get into the fourth base. They do just focus down that Nexus, and they will get it. Big pick off here from Serral. Very nicely done. That's going to be a kill on a Nexus and 8 workers as well. Again, just no stack defense. Harstem a little bit too confident in his army positioning here to have any stack defense to defend. Does pay for it. Meanwhile, Serral, he's remaxing with Corruptors. That's a lot of Corruptors. The Queens are pushing forward as well to transfuse to keep these Corruptors going. We have plenty of anti-air. Carriers, they're not going to cut it. We need something more on the ground. We need Archons. Storm. We do have Storm, but no Archons. So Carriers are going to push them forward. Big Storm here on the Corruptors. Not too bad. But we have the counter transfuse. Lings pushing towards the natural base. So far, Harstem splitting up. Queens are overextending. We do pick off a couple of them, and Harstem will hold. For the most part. Did lose the cyber core, which is a little bit brutal. That will delay upgrades. That will delay plus two air attack. We even depower the shield battery. Oh my god, Serral doing a lot with a little here. Gets into the mineral line. All it takes is a handful of Lings. 15 workers go down. Too many losses here for Harstem. Ay. Not like this. And this entire time, Serral has just been happily mining. He's remaxing once again. Like, this push was worth it for Serral. He may not have killed any carriers, but he crippled the economy. And he denied the upgrades, or delayed the upgrades. With that, Serral is going to back up. He's going to rebuild, remax. Ultras, Vipers, more Corruptors. Well, he kept his Corruptors alive. And now with Spellcasters, Serral is going to have a much easier time engaging with the Skytoss. Harstem still building up his army. Rebuilding his economy. Still down to sub 60 workers. Less than 3 base saturation. That is, again, brutal. But he is maxing. He is maxing out. He has a pretty terrifying army. Especially with those storms. I'm not too sure how many high Templar. We have, I want to say 4 or 5 high Templar. Oh, as a Ling counterattack comes in. Getting a couple of workers. Dropper Lord's on the way. I love this. Serral looking to pull apart Harstem. Ultras have been revealed. So the way this works is that the Ultras, their goal, their role even, is to get on top of the High Templar, to shut down the storms. And once there's no more storm, once the ground army has been deterred, then the Corruptors, of course, can dive on top of those carriers. But here comes the push. Oh, Void Ray does overextend. First Void Ray goes down, second as well. Big storms here on those Corruptors. Storms once again zoning them away. The Ultras are trying to break through, but they cannot. And Harstem, not taking a bad fight here. Cleans up all the Ultras, but I believe he lost his High Templar. Yeah, you can see there on the units tab, he has 3 High Templar left. Meanwhile, Serral, he can remax. There we go, 4 more Ultras on the way. Serral also didn't throw away his Corruptors. He did take some Storms, like 2 or 3 Storms to the face, but he kept his Corruptors alive. He's going to be backing off. Going for those transfuse. But again, that was a decent fight from Harstem. You can see here, though, that because of Harstem's economy, or because of his lack of economy, even though he cleaned up all those Ultras, like, he still lost his ground force, and he can't rebuild. Like, he's having a really hard time remaxing. Doesn't have a bank to work with. Again, this is the importance of the economy. Here we go. Serral pushing in once again. Harstem in a really awkward position, actually. The Oracles, they overextend. 2 of them go down. Nice pickups here from Serral. High Templar, oh my god, those High Templar are so vulnerable. Gonna rotate around. The Immortal! The Immortal is gonna get caught out. Overcharge, doing what it can to keep it alive. But there's just too much DPS. Immortal does fall. And you can see Harstem just having a really hard time rotating between that gold and his natural. Exposing the gold base. Harstem trying to keep up, but that's going to be a kill on his Nexus. Nice abduction. Gets 1 carrier. Gets a 2nd carrier as well. Harstem unable to be in position. No feedbacks on the Vipers. And Harstem, he's just being picked apart. Okay, just really patient play here from Serral. He knows what he can get away with. But big Storms, though. Oh my god. The Storms will deter Serral. He has to respect it. Oh, has to respect the Archons as well, but he does get on top of 1 carrier. Gets 1. Gets the Void Ray. He's going to get the next carrier, and everything in the air goes down. Only the Mothership survives. Harstem now going for a ground composition instead. He just warped in a wave of Zealots. Going for Immortals. There is no Greater Spire. These Corruptors are dead supply. Uh-oh. Serral, what do we have on the ground? Queens, we have 5 Ultras. Vipers are doing what they can. They do get the Mothership. And it comes down to the ground army. Do we have enough? That's still a lot of Ultras. But do we have enough? The Immortals, they're going ham on these Ultras. 1 of them goes down, a 2nd and a 3rd. And this ground army is breaking through. Harstem, he's pushing on through, breaking through the Ultras and the Queens as well. We need the Greater Spire. Space is going to be going down. The Corruptors, they go across the map. Harstem, he's making some magic happen here, but the Greater Spire just finished, which means we can morph in Broodlords. But Serral's maxed out. He makes 8 Ultras. Oh my god. We have 8 Ultras, sorry, 7 Ultras on the way. I'm not too sure if that's going to be the right call here. Corruptor is going for a backstab, forcing a recall. But the recall may just be too late. Yeah, it's too little too late. Both next side go down. Harstem down to like half a base economy. Yeah, and you can see that he's being pulled apart. There's just too much. GG gets called. And Serral takes game number 1. At the end there, Harstem, he did win a fight, but he was all in. He was completely all in. There was no more longevity in that game for Harstem, being pulled apart economically. And in the end, did run out of steam. GG. Serral did take game number 1, but that was also on Equilibrium. You know, that's like the most Zerg favorite map in the map pool. That, like, it couldn't have been a worse map for Harstem. Ay. Serral getting away with so much, getting away with the gold base as well. But now we're getting into game number 2. And I'm curious, where does Harstem take us? Yeah, I was about to say Rad's Station. Makes plenty of sense. This is the polar opposites. Equilibrium is like the most Zerg favorite map here for a ZVP. Rad's Station, the most Protoss favorite. The most Protoss favorite map here in the map pool. So we get the 2 extremes here. Can Harstem pull this off? Can he cause an upset on Radisson Station? There's a lot working for him. We have seen Serral lose on Radisson Station before. Will it happen again? Will it happen again? Oh boy, it looks like he did ask for a small break. Don't blame him. The pressure is on. Ugh, there's a lot here for our players, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we can bring it back. Oh boy. We'll see if Harstem can make some magic happen. I'm ready for it. I am ready for it. Being pulled apart economically. Are you looking at my bank account? Oh, smooch. 60 workers means 30 more army supply for army though. Oh, copium, Bobby, copium. It's okay. We don't need workers. It's fine. It's fine. Get rid of them. We just want to make army. True, true. Here we go. So yeah, we'll see what Harstem has planned for us. We have seen a lot of really greedy play on Radisson Station. It is an easier map to rush into Skytoss. So Harstem getting into those fast carriers, it was a little bit shaky on Equilibrium. It is going to be much stronger here on Radisson Station. The problem is that I don't think it's a good idea to go for the same build 2 games in a row. That's my concern here, is that this is going to be, or rushing into carriers and rushing into Skytoss and a Fleet Beacon is something that Harstem already tried, and as a result, Serral, he's already primed. He's already like primed for that. He's already practiced for that. So I'm curious if Harstem has something different for Radisson Station. I'm curious if he has something else in store for us instead. Something interesting that we've seen is that we have seen a couple of Protoss players actually go for all-ins on Radisson Station. The reasoning for this, and this is actually how Serral died. The last time we saw him on Radisson Station was that you cut too many corners. You cut too many corners, you're being too greedy, and then you get caught off guard just because your opponent comes in, you know, with an all-in. Like, whereas a Protoss player should be being greedy, they should be being economic, and then they catch you off guard. They catch you with their pants down. We'll see if that works. We'll see if that can work out here, or if Harstem just goes for like greed and just goes for an economic game. Yeah. We'll see what his approach is going to be here in game number 2. Again, if Serral wins this game, then it's going to be going to the ace match. If Harstem wins this, then Shopify takes it. Shopify will win the series. Harstem just needs 1 game. That's all he needs. Can he pull it off? Here we go, as we're going to be loading on in. And in the bottom left-hand corner of Radisson Station, we have the blue Protoss for Shopify, Harstem. And in the top right, we have his opponent, the red Zerg player for Team BASILISK. It is Serral. Here we go. Now, how greedy are we going to be? This is a question for both Harstem and Serral as well. We have seen a lot of gasless openers here on Radisson Station, just because you can cut corners, you can delay your gases, delay link speed, and just rush into a faster third base as quickly as you can. So I'm curious if Serral is going to do the same. Likewise, we'll see how greedy Harstem is going to be. For now, hatch first. Hatch first out of Serral. Harstem setting up his wall on the low ground at the natural. And he is rallied to take his gas. Okay, so important to take note. Serral isn't going gasless. He isn't going crazy, and he isn't cutting too many corners. He's opening up safely. Hatch, gas pool. Standard opener out of Serral. It is going to be a standard opener. Meanwhile, now my eyes divert to Harstem. As it's going to be a gate expand into the cyber core. Everything looking normal for the time being. Now, if you maybe haven't tuned into Radisson Station before, and I wouldn't blame you, we really only get to cast Radisson Station on or in WTL because there's no vetoes. This is the most vetoed map in the map pool, so we rarely get to see it. The reasoning for this is because of the pocket base. I mean, there's a multitude of reasons. We have a pocket base as the 3rd. We also have as the 4th a very secure 4th base location. We have narrow entry points into that 4th. There's no kind of high ground disadvantage or anything like that, so it could also be very difficult to break a player on 4 bases. So it's basically like a free 4 base setup. Likewise, when it comes to Terran matchups, there's no Reaper Cliff coming into the natural or into the main. You have to go through the ramp. That's the only way in. So it can be very difficult to scout as well. As Harstem is going for a Stargate opener. Now, if this is a normal PvZ, I would assume this is going to be Void Ray first, into a second Stargate and a Fleet Beacon, into like a Tempest Rush. But that feels really played out on this map. That's what everyone does. And I don't want to see what everyone does on Radisson Station. I want to see what Harstem does. I want to see something different. I want to see something unique, something wild and crazy. We'll see. But now, Zealot first out of Harstem. This is already an interesting move. Something unexpected to begin with. I'm curious if we're going to let it finish. There's that Void Ray that we were talking about. Again, if this was any other Protoss, it'd be Void Ray first. We shut down the Overlord. Second Stargate, Fleet Beacon. And so far, it's looking to be similar. There we go. We do cancel the Zealots. Makes sense. Getting into that Sentry. Void Ray will shut down this Overlord. Now, personally, I would love to see, again, we shift gears, go into the third, and go into a Twilight Council follow-up instead, just to try to catch Serral off guard. As we cancel the Sentry, we go back into the Zealot. Oh my god. Just playing here with the vision and scouting, of course, of Serral. There we go. Void Ray does pop out, shuts down the Overlord, and it is going to be a Fleet Beacon. So it is, it's what everyone does. Very standard play here on Radisson Station, which is going to be standard play would be a Tempest Rush. We'll see if Harstem does something crazy and goes for a Carrier instead. As the Fleet Beacon is on the way. Third base being taken as well as the pocket. Serral going into a pretty early lair. That's a 4-minute lair timing. Oh my. Okay, I'm curious. We have seen fast lairs on Radisson Station, and we have seen it be only for like fast overseers to scout. Meanwhile, there's that Tempest on the way. Am I crazy? It's only one Stargate, right? We're rushing into Tempest, but gases are being taken. There is no tectonic destabilizers. Usually, if you go into a Tempest rush, we get into the upgrade of Tempest, which does bonus damage to structures. I'm really curious. Harstem. Yeah, we're only making one Tempest at a time. We're going for ground toss. Yep, there it is. This is what I wanted. This is what I was hoping for. Okay, so what everyone does is we rush into Sky Toss, and Harstem is faking it. He's faking Sky Toss. He intentionally reveals his Tempest as the Tempest does waddle out into the open, is spotted by a Ling, and bam, immediately Forge, Twilight Council. It should be Blink and +1, and Serral is reacting. He's going for Aspire, going for Corruptors. This is beautiful. This is what I wanted. Okay, so Harstem faking Sky Toss, going into Ground Toss. Oh, we don't want to throw it away. No, the move command. Oh, this is not the best start. We take a lot of damage. Look, I get it. You want to pump up Serral. You want him to be lured in. As it looks like we are having a little bit of latency on the stream. No, don't drop us. Okay, we're good. Oh, but again, the Tempest did accidentally float into that natural base. Did take a lot of damage. Did not die, thankfully. Thankfully, did not die, but is going to be out there. Oh, it looks like we're going for the refresh, which means we're going to be jumping ahead. I'll try to catch up. Yeah, we do apologize for some of the technical issues, but should be clearing up here. As the Tempests have revealed themselves, they get 2 worker kills. Again, the Tempest survived, so if you missed out on anything, it was just a Tempest just flying too close to the sun, but did survive. Meanwhile, there is the ground toss transition. We got 5 gates on the way, +1 as well. Mutas are in production. Ooh, Serral, has he smelled this out? Mutas is an interesting one, not Corruptors. Roaches are on the way as well. I'm really curious to see how this dynamic works. Now, Mutas in high enough numbers can shut down Tempest, but there are no Roaches. So he's doubling down on Mutas. We're going for the proxy. Let's go. We're going for the gold. Nexus is on the way to throw down some shield batteries, some cannons, lay siege upon the bases of Serral. Harstem, he was in the chat a couple of weeks ago. We were watching Max Packs here on this map. Max Packs versus Lambo. We saw something very similar, and it looks like Harstem, he was inspired. as he's still just making 1 Tempest at a time. Muta's coming for a big counterattack, but there are Stalkers in position. Blink's still not done though. Probes are going down. We were not ready for this. Harstem woefully underprepared for Mutas. Yeah, it's going to be 12 dead, 13 dead workers. We go for the Void Ray as well. Ay, ay, ay. Serral getting so much done with these Mutas. And Harstem just cannot keep up. Not like this. Everything was going well. Everything was looking good. But these Mutas are winning Serral the game. They take down 23 plus workers. And despite the tech switch, despite what Harstem's doing, Serral, he's remaxing on Roaches. He's making nothing but Roaches back at home. We have a ground army. This Blink Stalker transition is not going to be good enough. Not anymore. It's taken too long. GG gets called. It's just too much. And Serral will take game number 2, taking the 2-0. GG. GG, well played. But I appreciate the enthusiasm. I appreciate the build of Harstem. I love that he wasn't, you know, conforming to the norms of Radisson Station. He was trying to bring out his own flair. He was trying to do his own thing, trying to catch Serral off guard. And I love the mind games. I love the mind games. I love, again, the build choice as well. It was good. Good stuff. Didn't work, but I loved it nonetheless. GG, well played. Serral does take the 2-0, which means we're going to the ace match. We're going all the way to game 7. It all comes down to Golden Aura. And the question becomes, who do we send out? Who gets sent out as the ace? Now, the obvious picks would be Serral and Lambo. They would be the obvious picks here. The reason why I say that is because Serral, of course, everyone has a weakest matchup, and Serral's weakest matchup is ZVZ. We've seen Serral fall to a lot of Zerg players already this season, not just in WTL, but in tournaments in general. Shout out to Solar, by the way. The antithesis to Serral. So that would be the choice that makes the most sense. But is that too obvious? You know, and again, Serral, he has been working on his ZVZ. I mean, I guess we also have to emphasize as well, Lambo did just 2-0 Reynor. Like, his ZVZ is on point. Like, he's got the confidence boost as well of 2-0ing Reynor. Like, I'm sure Lambo, he's on cloud 9 right now. He's feeling good. He's feeling confident. So again, Lambo versus Serral would make the most sense. Personally, I would love something wild like ByuN versus Serral. Like, but that's just me itching for a ZVT. You know, like I'm salivating for like a solid ZVT. Like, that'd be amazing. But on paper, like, the logical choice here for the snipe of Serral would be Lambo. I'm sure ByuN, Lambo, and Harstem, I'm sure they're all like having a bit of a discussion, a bit of a huddle. They're discussing amongst themselves, like, how do they want to approach this? How do they want to approach Serral as well? Golden Aura, thinking about a ZVT, especially ByuN's style of ZVT, I wouldn't be opposed just because of the shorter rush distance by ground. You can gain a little momentum and just be hyper aggressive here as well with a bio-based composition. That is something to bear in mind. ZVZ on Golden Aura sounds really scary. Really scary. There's the goal base, of course. There's the short rush distance by ground. Your 3-base defensive setup isn't as strong in ZVZ as it is, you know, in some of these other matchups. Yeah, there's a lot to consider. I think the map is very, very influential here. Very much so. Like, if this was like a normal map, then I would say otherwise. But Golden Aura has some pretty important features. So I'm curious. Very curious here. The other thing to bear in mind is if this is going to be a ZVT, then likewise, Serral can cut corners and he can go gasless. That is something that we've seen a lot of in ZVT here. And if you can get away with a gasless opener, like, it can be brutal. It can be brutal. Let's go. His mind game backfired on him. It was good though. It was a good game. Good game. I loved it. I think Radisson Station, Harstem versus Serral may be the highlight for me for the night. Maybe the highlight. BASILISK doesn't have anyone to send out to counter Lambo though. True. I don't think I would be confident in Trigger versus Lambo. I think that's also why, like, I'm like picturing, I'm more theorizing about who comes out for Shopify, because I feel like it's a secure choice. I feel like Serral has to be the pick here for for Team Basilisk. I don't think there's room for Reynor or Trigger here. I think it has to be Serral. I think he has to be the pick. When it comes to Shopify, I think they have more wiggle room. But we'll see. Teams are still deciding amongst themselves. Still figuring it out. Here we go. As a reminder, this is a best of one. It all comes down to this final game, this final map. One best of one. Oh boy. Pressure is on. This is when we go for like a wild pick of like Trigger ByuN. Should be crazy. But yeah, we could just go for something out of left field instead. Have a wild approach. I mean, I would love to see an ace match between Trigger and ByuN, right? Like they went 1-1 earlier. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but that would be crazy. Again, I think because of the high chance of Lambo being picked here, I don't think Trigger would be wise because I do think that Trigger's worst matchup is PvZ. I do think that's the matchup that Trigger struggles in the most. So if you're gambling and if you think that the high chance of Lambo is, or if you think there's a high chance of Lambo, I don't think Trigger would be a wise choice here. We'll see. Do we have any theories in the chats? Any wild picks? This is when Roddy comes out, right? Roddy versus Gemini. Oh no, sorry, Gemini. He's for onside. Who am I thinking of? Is TLO still on Shopify? Am I crazy? He is. Let's get TLO versus Roddy. Vámonos, papi, vámonos. Oh my god. I was thinking of another managerial player. I'd be all for it. Ready to like, yeah, let's go. This new channel is really promising. You work hard a lot and you're always present on the events. And the cast is really passionate and pleasant. Thank you for that. No money this month for subscription, but we'll come. Oh, thank you. I do appreciate it. Gracias, Fermi. Gracias. Times go by so fast. Yeah, we have been around for a while. The reality is that even though we've been around, we've been casting for 6 years. We haven't really been getting too much attention. We've been working hard. Like we cast every day since the pandemic, since 2020. I mean, not every day since 2020. We've taken some days off from time to time, but yeah, we appreciate it. Whenever someone new finds us, we appreciate it. Definitely. Thank you. We have been getting a little bit more momentum recently, viewership-wise, ever since the ESL qualifiers. Oh, do we have a picks? There it is. Lambo versus Serral. Here we go. The obvious pick. We didn't see anything too crazy. No wild ByuN or Trigger or anything like that. Lambo versus Serral. This is going to be a close one. I don't envy the people going for predictions because I know that obviously Serral, his worst matchup is ZVZ, but that doesn't mean he doesn't beat these players. Like we've seen Serral take down Solar, Lambo, Reynor. Like Serral, he's still damn good at this game. It isn't a sure thing, but here we go. In the bottom right hand corner of Golden Aura, we have Lambo for Shopify. And in the top left, we have his opponent. We have Serral for Team Basilisk. Here we go. Here we go. Comes down to our ZVZ. Best of one. Lambo was popping off earlier, taking down Reynor 2-0. And we'll see if he can bamboozle Serral again, or Serral as well. Winding it back, again, Lambo basically went for a 1-base all-in, they got scouted. Sorry, I said one. Went for a 2-base all-in against Reynor, they got scouted, so Lambo had to kind of like pivot away from it, dealt economic damage, lured Reynor into droning up too much, and then Lambo finished him off with another all-in. And then game number 2 was on Equilibrium, and it was just Ling Bane battles. It was just, it was gas first opener. from Lambo into Lingbane Wars. Here on Golden Aura, it's a little bit different. Shorter rush distance by ground. A much shorter rush distance by ground that you can take advantage of. It doesn't take too long for an army to get across the map, so you have to be wary of that. So aggressive styles can be favored. In saying that, there is a lot of high ground. There is a big defender's advantage, especially at the third base. At the third base, it's a very narrow ramp going up into that third, so very difficult to push up into it. You have to rotate around instead. So the defender's advantage on this map is that much more boosted here because of Golden Aura. That is something to bear in mind. For now, hatch gas pool from both players, standard openers. No gas first. And we shouldn't be playing into 2-base Roach. I do think that because of how defendable the third base can be, getting into 3-base saturation is what you want to go for. But we'll see. For now, everything is looking normal. For now, we're just droning on up. And really, I'm just looking to see who blinks first. I'm, who skips a Bailey Nest, who throws down a Roach Warren, who cuts workers. My eyes are on that production tab. For now, we have Link Speed on the way. Everything's still looking normal. This should be leading into a third base and into Banelings as well. The early game, we should be mirroring each other. There it is, the third base now being taken from both Serral and Lambo. Standard build so far. Ling's going to be coming in. They get eyes on the third. Going to be nibbling away at it. Nothing too major. Bailey nests are thrown down for both players. No one is skipping Banelings. No one is rushing into Roaches. I do think that would be a mistake on this map. Just because of, again, how aggressive you can be. How quickly you can be aggressive, especially with Lingbane. And again, so far, we're keeping up with each other. Joining, continuing. Lambo, he's making an extra pair of Lings. Nothing too notable, though. Just an extra pair. So still just focusing on saturating our bases. I expect to see faster Roach Warrens, though. I expect to see, once these Lings get cleaned up, we have seen players be quite fond of faster Roaches. And, oh, instead of a fast Roach Warren, Lambo going straight for the lair. Very fast lair. 3-minute 30 lair timing here from Lambo. Very curious to see what this is for. Meanwhile, there's that faster Roach Warren from Serral. So Serral is going to have faster Roaches. Lambo, a bit of a later Roach Warren, but with a fast lair, he can go into Roach Speed. Or do something crazy, take 4 gases and go into Mutas. But now, both players are droning. Lambo doing a great job here at denying the scouting information. Serral, he hasn't seen the fast lair. And with fast Roach Speed, Lambo should be building up towards a push. Ooh, Serral already making a wave of Roaches. And he is, yeah, he's cutting workers. Serral is going all in. Serral, he may not it over towards the third base. He's making it look like he's droning, but he isn't. He's cutting workers at 37. Serral is going to be the aggressor. Even though Lambo, he can go into faster Roach Speed, he may be caught off guard. And the supply block. We have 3 overloads on the way. Lambo, he's droning. No. Lambo, he's still making workers, going for a Spire of all things. Oh my god, this may just be it. This may just be it, as he's going 2-base Spire. Meanwhile, Serral is going for a massive Roach push across the map. I assumed that this was going to be like fast, like Roach Speed or something, but with this, Lambo should be giving up on his third. Roaches have arrived. And Serral, he's doubling down. Like, this isn't just pressure, this is an all-in. He breaks through all those Banelings, getting onto the hatchery as well. Lambo in a lot of trouble. He does have 1 spine crawler on the way. Oh, sorry. Apparently I'm ahead. Does have that 1 spine crawler on the way here. And here we go. The Baneling's going to be pushing towards that natural base. Baneling that's taking a lot of hits already. And Bailey is going to be going down. Behind this, Serral is actually droning, but he's securing damage, getting a kill on that third. Lambo, even if he holds here at the natural, he is going to be falling behind. I mean, at least the Spire hasn't been scouted. But the Roach Warren's exposed, and it's going to be going down as well. Again, Lambo taking a big risk going 2-base Muta. high risk, high reward. Sometimes it just doesn't go your way. Baneling's going to be crashing on forward. There's 3 Banelings left. Up. We have 1 Baneling remaining. It goes down, and now Serral, he can go for the kill. He can dive into the natural base. Boys are being pulled. And drones are going to be going down. We get on top of the queens. Serral, he's breaking through. The mutas have been revealed. Back at home, Serral is making queens. Should be getting spores ready. Against Serral, he's going to be running out of steam here, but he has done so much, killing 6 workers. He killed the Roach Warren, the Baneling Nest, and the third base as well. You can see Lambo, he just leaned back. He just leaned back in his chair. He knows how dire the situation is. He may have mutas, but what can he really achieve with them? He's hunting down overlords, which is nice. He does have map control. But Lambo has a lot of droning to do. Meanwhile, Serral can take this slow. Serral, he just has to build up his queen count, get his spores up and running, turtle up on 3 bases, get up to 3 base saturation with all those gas geysers, and get into like a Hydra Den, or even just straight into something like a Hive Tech. Serral has options. I say Hive Tech, like Infestation Pit into spellcasters like Vibers or Infestors. Lambo doubling down on muta production. It's all he can make, mutas. And Serral, he's just fortifying himself back at home. Does lose a queen. Oh. Lambo, he's gaining some value here. Only getting 1 queen for the time being. Infestation Pit's on the way, and that's going to be for, again, Infestors for Fungals or just a Hive Tech to get into Vipers. I love that we have Burrow and Tunneling Claws on the way, so Serral, even though he's being contained for the time being, he's soon about to hit the field with these roaches. He can soon harass across the map. And Muta's catch another queen. Oh, trading a queen, 2 queens for a Muta. As we barely get on top of the Spore Crawler as well. Lambo pushing on forward. He's going for the dive. Can he reset the queen count? There's just so many queens, so many spores as well. Ay, ay, ay. We do get the spore in the end, but this is going to be a costly trade here for Lambo. He will get all 3 queens, and that triggers a counterattack. That does trigger a counterattack. Every single queen is going to fall. A handful of mutas make their way into the natural. The spore is done. Yeah, so yeah, GG gets that's all we had left. That's all we could accomplish. GG gets called, and Serral will take the game, and he wins it all for himself, for his team, for Team BASILISK. GG, well played. Lambo trying to pull a fast one on Serral, going 2 base Muta. A little bit too greedy, and Serral likewise, without even scouting, he had no idea what was happening, by the way. He just went into a fast Roach Warren, went for an all-in, and recognized, of course, that Lambo was being too greedy. Shut him down. GG. GG, well played. Serral will win it all here. Again, as I mentioned before, a best of 1, anything can happen. And even though Serral, he does struggle at times in ZVZ, able to have a dominant performance here. And with that, congratulations to Team BASILISK. Did go all the way to the ace match, so a big shout out to Shopify. Shopify Rebellion. Lambo was looking damn good. Lambo 2-0ing Reynor. I don't think many people expected that. I don't think many people expected a 2-0, so big shout out to Lambo. He may not have been able to take down Serral, but he still did well today. Performed beautifully. Likewise, a shout out to ByuN, of course. Harstem as well. Harstem, he may not have taken the game, but had a really fun series. Really fun series. I appreciate what he did on Razor Station. GG. GG, well played. With that, that is us wrapping up WTL for round 9. For the 9th week of WTL, we are about to have a look at the standings. The standings will soon be shown, and we can have a bit of a look at where the teams lie and what the playoff bracket could be looking like. For those wondering, I believe it's top 8. Top 8 teams make it into the playoffs, and we have 2 weeks left. It's 11 weeks in total of the round robin group stage, and this is week 9 done. 10 and 11 around the corner, and we've had a couple of interesting results coming in. Onside, of course, in first place. Shopify in second. And DKZ in third. BASILISK, they've been struggling a little bit. They have been struggling. And BASILISK, they were a top 2 team last season. They were top 2. But here they're in 4th place. Still secure when it comes to getting into the playoffs. But yeah, Shopify and DKZ, they've been popping off. Likewise, we have Team Liquid and Storm behind them. And at the bottom of the standings, the Starving Camels, I don't think they can make it into the playoffs. I don't think the Kwangno Freaks can either. Kwangno Freaks, they've also had a really rough season. They can still vie for standings, but they cannot make it into the playoffs. Instead, it comes down to some of these other teams like Mystery Gaming, Reynor, Platinum Heroes, Starlight Twinkle, Storm, Team Liquid. A lot of these teams are still pretty close and neck, and depending on what happens in these next 2 weeks, we can see a shakeup of the standings, a shakeup of who makes it and who doesn't. Oh boy. Here we go. But yeah, with that, thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. We appreciate the support. If you want to support us even further, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We're on all things CranKy Ducklings. And we even have a YouTube channel as well. So all of our VODs are uploaded to YouTube. Exclamation mark YouTube in the chat. Where we do upload on a daily basis. We've been uploading on a daily basis for a long time, and we got a lot of content on YouTube. So if you can't tune in live, we got you covered there. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. We're going to be live in less than 24 hours with ESL Urban Cup Asia. That's our next broadcast tomorrow with ESL Asia. And I may be casting with Chicken Man. Chicken Man, he messaged me yesterday and he was like, yo, I can't cover ESL Americas this week. Do you want to co-cast Asia? I'm like, let's go. So we'll have a co-caster for ESL Urban Cup Asia tomorrow. So yeah, with that, thank you so much for watching, everyone. Thank you so much for the support. Big shout out to Kuro as well. Kuro has been handling the production. We apologize for some of the buffering. The clean feed has been having some issues, but thankfully it wasn't as bad as yesterday. Yesterday was brutal. But with that, thank you for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow for ESL Urban Cup Asia. Until then, hasta luego. See you then.